welcome back to Unite Mike's Mayhem Season 2, Week 2. We are headed into our finals between Clash and Dota gamers. I cannot wait to watch this match. Let's get it underway quick. Deucenex, can you get us a coin flip so these teams can decide draft order? Dota gamers will be tails, Clash will be heads.
All right, here we go. It is heads, so Clash is getting to choose again.
Okay, sounds good. I will let them know. One thing we wanted to mention is just the finals scheduling. Deucex, you want to let the people know about that and our prize pool situation?
Yeah, absolutely. So the prize pool for the regular week events is $100 to the winner. But we're doing something special here to try and bolster the Pokemon Unite competitive scene, keep these teams motivated, keep them rolling, giving them something more to play for as we are waiting for the UCS announcements for North America and Europe. So if you do exclamation point prize pool with 2 O's, you'll find our way to our GoFundMe where you can put some money in. 100% of that GoFundMe is going to go to the finals on November 20. Help me, second, 21st.
Yep. 1 week from
December
today.
21st. So 1 week from today, and then next Tuesday we're rehashing our previously canceled week 1. So we'll actually have a regular Unite Mike's Mayhem on Tuesday night, and then kind of the big finals with all the winners on that Wednesday night.
Yep. So if you're looking to watch more Mayhem, you have 2 events next week. The final normal Mayhem week qualifier event, as well as the very next day, the finals. So tons of tournament content here on the channel next week. I'm very excited. It's going to be a very exciting, very busy week, but it's going to be a lot of good stuff. Very, 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 very cool stuff on the way. So yeah, let's get this draft underway, shall we? I'll jump to it. Reminder, Clash versus Dota gamers. Clash has chosen Team A, so they are going to get first ban.
Okay. Now, Clash is in a unique position here because they can ban Sableye and force Dota gamers to take the Dodrio out from under them, which will allow Clash to get Blissey, or Clash can ban Blissey and put Dota gamers on either Sableye or Dodrio, letting Clash get either one, and allow Clash to get either one of those while simultaneously cutting Dota off of one of their picks. And it looks like that might be the route they're going. Zoinks, I like this a lot.
I'm really surprised, actually. I like it. I am surprised, especially since in game 1, Clash was just showing so much favoritism towards the Sableye ban out the gate every single time. Just seemed like it was their pocket ban for the entire tournament. I expected, but instead changing it up here, obviously saw Bloodlines Blissey wanted no part of that for their game, and they're going to ban that one straight away.
Right. So, like I said, that puts Dota gamers on either sorting out the Sableye themselves and letting Clash have access to Dodrio, or cutting Clash off of the Dodrio and allowing them to get Sableye and do some damage there. So here we go. This is the options.
Sneaky Seal in chat. It's over. Bloodline has no other picks.
Jeez,
a little bit of shade being thrown.
That's not true. I've seen Bloodline play like early season 1 Wigglytuff. So.
Yeah,
come on.
That is very true. Well, we have a Dodrio ban coming through for Dota gamers. No surprises here. Clash's Dodrio play from Tempo was just absurd in game number 1. Again, we do not want to deal with that sort of scenario. Now Clash has the option to play Sableye. However, I don't believe we've seen them play that Pokemon yet, since it has been their pocket ban going forward. But not picking it does mean you're giving it up to Dota gamers, which they are potentially going to do since they lock in Serena.
Clash, this is good because Clash obviously has a great Serena player, but also cuts off Dota gamers Nudo from that Serena, forcing them into a pick, excuse me, another Pokemon that we haven't seen them at least play this week.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, I don't know. I'm so interested about the Serena pick. I did not expect this one whatsoever, but yeah, I'm excited to see where Dota gamers goes. You're right. Nudo not having access to that Serena here in this game is a very interesting draft strategy. I mean, took away the Blissey, took away the Serena, all Dota gamer options. Well, not all of them, obviously, but some 2 very strong ones. Dota gamers is going to respond in kind with some strong picks of their own. They are going to pick the Scyther as pick number 1. And they are going to grab the Mamoswine as pick number 2.
Okay. Something very important we need to take inventory of right now is how strong Scyther is and how strong Mamoswine is and how manageable Sableye can be if you understand what your team is trying to do.
Mm-hmm.
Dota Gamers did just win a game previous where there's Sableye and yes, some unconventional picks in the mix here, which I don't necessarily see Clash going down that path. But
Mm-hmm.
that doesn't take away that the Dota Gamers feels confident going against Sableye to the point where they don't actually care if it gets onto Thea Sky Ruins.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, so far showing that respect, disrespect, I guess it depends on how you want to define it. But yeah, you're right. No Sableye. Both teams being very confident in their answers, whatever they're bringing to the table. I think it's both Scyther and Mamoswine can deal with that Pokemon quite well. I mean, Scyther hates to be confused raids, but usually that Pokemon is running full heal anyways, but they are going to have to come up with answers because Clash has locked in both Sableye and Glaceon.
Okay, so good sure hit action there. That's going to be very fortunate for, I'm assuming Nudo's going to be on Scyther. That's just kind of what my gut tells me here.
Interesting.
So
Okay.
So between Glaceon, Sableye, and Zarina, I think that's a good way to isolate and pin that Pokemon down.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All three of these Pokemon seem like fantastic Scyther counters, right? Specifically the Glaceon. I think Scyther is going to hate having to play against the Glaceon.
Mm-hmm.
That is a tough Pokemon for them to encounter. Sableye can usually just avoid the Scyther on the map in general. So good spot for them. Also, Clash probably holding out on something like a Mr. Mime later on in this draft, and Blissey's off the table, Mamoswine's off the table, Snorlax technically still available, but they could be waiting on that sort of tanky Pokemon. We know Clash has played it in the past.
Yeah, Dota gamers might go the route of Mr. Mime as well for themselves, and just kind of swap into whatever, maybe Nudo's on and have Mamoswine run some interference in the mix. That's something I can see. I definitely, I don't want to commit that hard to it. I think whatever Dota gamers chooses last is going to be what's in the hands of Big Uzi.
Interesting.
Hashtag you can't bamboozle the boozle. The big
can't. That's a very long hashtag, but I do agree with every word in it. I think you cannot bamboozle the big boozle. Very happy they did what they could to get their screen name back. Oh, the Pokemon gods can be unkind sometimes. Well, Dota gamers waiting on their 2 picks right now. Mamoswine, Scyther already selected. You were already saying that you think Big Uzi's pick is probably going to come at the end of their draft. They do have the final selection. That means we probably have Bloodline's pick here because Faz has been playing the Mamoswine to an excellent level. And we also have, well, probably Oblivion's pick. I wouldn't hate. Okay, we are locking in the Snorlax, which is very exciting. Excited about that Pokemon. But we are also locking in the Urshifu, which, do I have that Pokemon in my overlay? Oh, we're about to get more scuffed.
Oh, listen. Let's just keep going down the scuffed rabbit hole.
Urshifu.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Okay. We did it. That's it.
There we are. Dota gamers selecting this one of the new Pokemon. An amazing Pokemon. Once it hits that level 5, you wouldn't believe it. This group of letters has a terrible first form. Cubchoo, one of the most struggle bus Pokemon that we have in the game of Unite. So I will see once it hits that level break point if they can really pop off with it or if Clash can run away with a big lead.
Right, that's the recipe for success is stifling it early. But between I assume Urshifu's going to go and get into the pocket of the Snorlax, and they're going to move together to let Cubfu at least try and do something as they move forward.
That is true. Also, I really need. Okay, I will get Urshifu's picture for next draft. I promise. I can't believe I completely forgot about it, but we will have it upcoming. Clash, like you mentioned and I mentioned, they need to stifle some picks, but they also need to round out the rest of their draft. Absolutely no front line to speak of so far. They are going to correct that. Mr. Mime is going to be one of their selections, which I know a lot of chat was cheering for. So big selection by them, but they are going to lock in the Delphox as well.
Yeah, so not incredibly robust up front, but grabbing the Delphox, it allows it allows Clash to not have to deal with that of Dota gamers, which means their Zarina can really go untethered into the mix, into that melee range, and it's going to need it. And honestly, when you're looking at a Mamoswine and a Snorlax, like you have to sacrifice somewhere to be able to crank up the damage, so you can't necessarily afford to have two chunky frontline Pokemon. You need to use these more utility type Pokemon like Mr. Mime that do have great defense, but can also be an offensive presence as well.
I'm worried about the Mime pick. I think I would have preferred a Slowbro with a Scyther on the other side. I think a Slowbro is just a better shutdown tool for that Pokemon. Being said, Serena really likes to have a specific pocket support, and Mime is fantastic at that. So you put the leash on, and you're all of a sudden doing way more damage and getting way more value than you normally would. So you are just trading that. You're supporting your own team a little more than countering the other sides. I suppose I can be convinced in that. Just waiting on Dota Gamers' final pick. They are waiting on their last one. 2 tanks, 2 all-arounder kind of melee styles. Looking for some range. I wouldn't be surprised if a Mew is the final pick here. I know Oblivion plays a lot of Mew, one of the best players in the entire region on that Pokemon, so could definitely see some range damage coming out of them.
Sure, we could also see the Cinderace come back. We
True.
could see even the Greninja we've been harking about so much. But really quick on Clash, grabbing Mr. Mime to get in his Arena's pocket. If the theory is that your Glaceon and Sableye are also reasonable Scyther counters, then you have to assume those players are going to do their job, and you have to choose something that bolsters your team somewhere. So I think that's why Mr. Mime makes a bit more sense to me. That's working under the assumption that you and I are, which is Glaceon and Sableye are there to, cast a net around that Scyther.
True. Well, I didn't expect this final selection. Dota Gamers have
No.
locked in Talonflame.
Okay. We're flying to a Delphox is what we're trying to do. We're going to try and sink our talons into a fox and pull them onto the skies here. So we have an opportunity to get into the back line in a vicious way with Talonflame. And when the front line is so robust with your squad, it makes sense. You can kind of dart in, dart back. You don't have to go too far to get into the safety of those big bodies. So there you go.
True. Also, welcome in Raiders from Spraggle's chat. Thank you so much. Yeehaw to you and yours, of course. Ignore the text on our draft screen. We'll deal with it later. Welcome in, everybody. Thank you. We are in the finals of Unite Mike's Mayhem week number 2. Clash versus Dota Gamers. Winners of this get $100 cash, of course, and then an invite to next week's finals, where they'll play against the winners of last week, the winners of next week, and of course the winners of next game. I believe, yeah, hold on. And so we are going to be heading into game in just a sec. It looks like we have a game crash, so we'll probably have a quick refresh of the lobby. We have somebody in admin slot, so it will be relatively quick.
Absolutely. So let's break down these squads for the folks that are just now coming in. We are Clash Dota Gamers. Game 1, we have ourselves the pick ban format. So if you're Team A, you get the first ban, first pick. If you're Team B, you get the second ban, and then 2 picks on the hop. So the way this one went is Blissey was banned, then Dodrio was banned. Clash chose Zarina. Dota Gamers chose Scizor, as you see on your screen, but it's going to be played as a Scyther, and Mamoswine, and then we went from there. Urshifu is too broken. The JPEG showed not available, so we had to write it in. Okay, I honestly blame technology because I don't understand it.
It is so confusing and terrifying. So yes, I completely agree with you. All right, I am actually going to get the Urshifu image right now because I'm so embarrassed. We will get it at the moment. But yes, we have very exciting game coming up. We are doing a quick reset, like we were just saying. We'll have that done very shortly. I'm going to put it back to the booth scene for a sec so it doesn't get crazy scuffed. But there we go.
Listen,
Boom.
We added a person for season 2. Shout out to Gamma in here helping us out.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll have a team one day, Zoinks. I don't know.
No.
No, okay.
No, absolutely. We would love that.
No
Actually, yes.
production team ever.
I just was shocked, but yes, I would absolutely love to have that. Okay. Also, I fixed it, everybody. I did it. I did it so good. We got a picture.
Boom.
Urshifu is there for the Dota gamers. I'm excited to see who actually ends up playing which Pokemon. Did you have predictions for who do you think is going to play what Pokemon on Dota gamers?
Let's see. Nudo on Scyther. Is Faz gonna Mammo?
Probably.
And then
no, I think Fast Snorlax, right? Maybe Bloodline Snorlax. Yeah, Bloodline Snorlax, Fast Mammo. I think you're right.
Yeah, Faz Mammo, Bloodline Snorlax. Seeing the Talonflame, that doesn't sound like a big Oozle Pokemon to me. So maybe Big Oozle will be on the Urshifu.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah,
I think that's where we're at.
Definitely could be. I think those are all good shouts. Yeah, I know Uzi loves the Urshifu. Really, really does. So I am excited to see how they do. I mean, we already talked about how this Pokemon really struggles in early game, but I'm looking at Clash's side. I was gonna say I don't really see many invade tools except for the glaring gremlin who's staring at me with glassy eyes. The Sableye is going to make life very difficult for Cubchoo in the start of this game. Not Cubchoo, that's a different Pokemon. That's an icy Pokemon. Cubfu. Cubfu is going to have a tough time dealing with Sableye in the early game. Would not be surprised if someone from Dota gamers, namely whoever's on the Snorlax, end up trying to give a bit more support.
And they're gonna have to, right? No matter what Pokemon goes into the Central, and we'll just say Scyther, Urshifu, or Talonflame, Sableye can do a lot of early game work against them and keep them off of those buffs, keep them off of experience. So that Snorlax support is going to be pivotal.
Yes. Could not agree more. Pivotal in the fact you got to defend away invaders. You might actually invade yourself with this composition, kind of relying on Mamoswine to be that bulk in path early game, and then just dedicate the Snorlax to doing so. Talonflame, where does it go, is going to be kind of the interesting decision. I mean, Talonflame top can be a thing sometimes. I don't know. We'll have to figure out what they end up deciding. Let me just get these team names sorted out because they're still the same from last game.
All right, so yeah, there we go. Oozle, can't bamboozle, Big Oozle on the Urshifu. Bloodline looks like they're picking up the Mamoswine. Faz going to be on the Snorlax. So those are the two that we that I scuffed up on my guesswork here. I'm taking a look at Clash's side. I'm seeing what tools they're bringing. Tempo going to be on that full heal. Goal getter for the Sableye, of course.
Talon, okay.
Yeah, no stacking items for the Sableye there. Which, seems kind of like a free roll, but Floatstone, experience share.
Doubling down on the move speed, right? So both the passive move speed gain items.
And so we know exactly where they're going. We know exactly.
Oh, yes.
And that's across the map. That's sprinting across the map.
I think it's laps. They just laps of the map. See how quickly they can do a 4-minute mile. That's not. They can do it in 4 minutes. See how quickly they can do the 1 mile. Yang on the Delphox is something I'm very excited to see. Again, they've had just huge game number 1 last season of Unite Mike's Mayhem. They also really popped off with that same pick. Very excited to see if they can continue on with this run of dominance, especially into the face of Pokemon like Talonflame and Scyther, who are just going to be diving upon them and making their life really miserable.
Looks like we're going to have some defender hand-holding in both paths here as the Cubfu has the Snorlax in their pocket. Scyther with a bit more work to do as they're trying to buy some time for that Mamoswine to get real big on them. But we're already stacking over here. Big Uzi getting one in, but they're getting dove real quick. Stark all over, going to chip them up. And it looks like Big Uzi taking that out from under Stark and Yang going to be able to, I was going to say, going to be able to score again, but no, cut short just a hair. As now Yan and Stark are pushing across, and Faz is going to try and hold it down. Mr. Mime gets their points in, so does Yan. Now they're on the retreat. Can they take some wild Pokemon for their efforts. Zoinks, Glaceon pulling up, and they're putting in work too real early. And Nemo looking frosty.
Yeah, I like the frosty touch. Yeah, showing up pretty early, like you mentioned. Only one buff, only grabbing that blue buff. It seems like they allowed their Serena to retreat back into the central area, if I'm looking at the minimap correctly, and is going to be taking the red buff quite a bit later. So, an interesting slow push through the central, but it's still going to mean they have 3 Pokemon down here. Big aerial ace there to get a lot of damage from Oblivion.
Yeah, they're kind of chunked, though. Clash going to be able to push forward. Can they get anyone for that effort? No. Oblivion almost stuck behind the wall, able to dart back through, but now they're chucking a ton of damage at Fast. Can they close the door on them? No. Not willing to overcommit to that. Just going to focus down maybe some wild Pokemon and get onto that goal pad for some healing and some defense.
Looks like we are Red Shifu, or the dark build for Urshifu, going with the, sort of that Pup Lucario style build. Yeah.
Yeah, the single strike is definitely what seems like players have been leaning into lately out of rapid strike and single strike. It can just have its unite move with its kind of execution type attack really sorts it out. Is it is it Wicked Blow? Is that what it is?
Yes, Wicked Blow is the major attacking move out of that kit. Nudo dealing a lot of damage here and staying on the Scizor. Something very notable. We see a lot more Scyther these days, but the sustain has been huge so far. Oblivion with a fantastic fly chase down. Just barely makes it there in time, but they get a big knockout. Bloodline getting griefed there a little bit by their teammates. Just wanted the level up. That's all they wanted, but they did get it underneath their teammates' noses.
Yeah, they took down one of them pigeons and they went ahead and ticked over. So they feel pretty good about that as they go back into the top path to babysit their team. We're hitting a fly right on top of Yang and they get chunked pretty hard. They have to run back, take a berry, and now they're fighting from their goal zone. It's Tien and Stark trying to hold it down to the face of 3. And that Talonflame is just taking everything for themselves. The heavy slam into Confusion Blast wall chunks Faz to half HP. A good little exchange and good series, but DotA Gamer still leaving with almost all of that bird experience.
Yeah, I mean, we still have a Braxton on the side of Clash. Yang has not been able to get a knockout. Finally, after retreating into their own area, they find something, gets to that Delphox level, but held back for so long. Is a job well done for DotA Gamers. That's going to give them a level advantage headed into this first Reggie fight. Fast takes a ton of damage on the face check, but now the Regice fight starts off in earnest.
Ooh, good little dip by Tempo, dodging both attacks from Oblivion, dodging the fly and the Unite move here, giving Clash a lot of opportunity to re-engage. They're trying to find their opportunity. Stark gets chunked, but Tempo comes in, and they try to snuff out the Talonflame. They fall a bit short. Regice comes through, and I wonder who takes it down. It's Yang, I think, while they're knocking out the Snorlax with those heavy, heavy boots. You can't stop them from stomping in their Air Force Ones as Clash is sieging this goal zone, and it's just a Pillow Swine responsive for holding it down, and it's cool as the other side of the pillow. That Ice-type Pokemon is nowhere near stopping anything, and Clash taking that and moving as a unit.
Listen, Icicle Crash has got a pretty long cooldown. You can only throw that thing so many times. K just picking up every last bit of Aeos energy they can, trying to get a lot of dunks in. You know that they are not stacking, but still running that score shield is going to allow these micro scores to happen constantly, and just being present on pad is going to increase Tempo's scoring speed as well.
Yeah, Nudo getting chunked by the stomps. Tempo doing work. That block coming through, but that Unite move was underway. Nudo getting chunked, caught in the fire spin, and then chip shot it to the face with a little grill. And there we go. Tempo's working through, and this Pillow Swan's getting dusted here. Faz is low, and we're looking for the engage as the Talonflame tries to find an opportunity, but it's the Urshifu that executes Tempo. KO streak a 2 for Yan as they're forced to retreat, and Nemo cuts off Big Uzi and keeps them from getting all over that Delphox.
Good play by K there to confuse Ray onto the priority targets, making sure they hit the Big Uzi, who's trying to charge in, being the major force of damage. And of course, Big Uzi there taking up every last bit of farm they can collect on the map. Clash with a 193-6 lead. DotA Gamers has been doing all right and keeping up tempo in terms of levels and things like that, but scoring has not been that same way. Clash is soaring ahead in that regard, as well as earning the Regieleki to move down the path as well.
Yeah, they're hunting down Faz, who uses a block to buy some time for Big Boozle. Ooh, the big time Unite by Oblivion catches 3, and they're going to see if they can convert on fly. Yes, that's a Glaceon down in a big way, and that forces Clash to scramble a little bit as Nudo's going to try and do work. They're caught in the fire spin. They're getting spun, or they're getting stomped out. How do you put out a fire? You stomp on it. We ain't doing no stop, drop, and roll out here, as now all of Clash is in the goal zone, and they're trying to catch through, and there's a big push by the Talonflame, but there's just too many players there, too much damage. We're scoring too easy. Talonflame's trying to do the Lord's work. Stark's getting low. Can they get a KO? Nudo finally gets in with a little sucker punch action, sorts it out. Tempo gets chipped up. They're going to get KO'd, but Clash taking another goal zone.
And how good are the comms for Clash right there, too? Mr. Mime with the 11 on barely a sliver of HP. Any other player is immediately scoring those with a free goal base to try to give them that chance to survive and get out of there. Instead, they stay up, they power swap tempo, and allow them to get 3 additional attack weight stacks in that time, and break the goal zone. Incredible little micro play to open up the macro in a really big way.
Absolutely. Now Big Uzi's kind of getting chased down by the Sableye, the Mr. Mime, and Glaceon. It's always there. The Glaceon and the Delphox are always there to cut off random pushes when players get too squirrely and get too far ahead onto their side of the map. And now they're just sieging in the central. They feel good about their pressure. Faz going to try and cut off Kia. Glaceon's got a good amount of damage, and Faz is low. We got that sure hit. Oblivion goes for the cover on the fly. Falls just a hair short, but it does get Faz enough time to get out.
And you know what the crazy part about that Delphox and Glaceon always being present is that they have almost no front line on their squad to really defend them at all. But that being said, the only Pokemon that can truly close that gap on them is going to be Talonflame. And Oblivion has been popping off, but really the only Pokemon available to do so, that's a rough life for the Firebird.
Mr. Mime just Confusion Blast out of nowhere. David Blaine with the card tricks out here, just absolutely shocking him. And then you had the follow-up on the Delphox Fire Spin, forcing the Talonflame to fly out of there. But now there's 2 players down for DotA Gaming and Clash with just a little 1-2 punch, buying all the room they need to get through this Regieleki. The Heavy Slams just falls a day late, dollar short. Faz is at a 3rd HP. They're getting dusted. They didn't get the Regieleki. Everybody's taking them out. And Clash is taking everything for themselves.
Yeah, taking everything and sending gifts along the way. Regieleki all the way to home base. That is front door delivery that you would want to contest in this situation. Tempo wins the 1v1 versus Talonflame, not a sight you see every day. Nudo gets surprised by 3 Clash members and immediately has to bail. Big Uzi, level 12, has been doing okay in the level scaling game. Needs to hurry up and get the 13, though, if they're going to become a problem in this game. But finally, Nudo earns themselves a knockout.
That was a good block and a huge push to send Clash players back into the face of DotA and allow them to get some KOs here, and that is one they wanted. Getting anyone off the map at that point is a good thing. KO almost with the Soul Read able to stop the reset here, but it's Nudo forced back. Tempo playing very far forward in tandem with Kia. They're just kind of jumping in the block. They thought they might drop it early. Double Stomp comes down fast, forces out the Unite move, and they might be able to get out of the way. Big Oozle comes through, trying to get on Tempo. They might be able to sort it out. They use the Unite move to get some time, and Clash, Tempo dodges the Talonflame Unite. Are you kidding me? Stark goes through, and nobody goes down to that Talonflame. There is one player down for Clash, and it's finally this arena because they were so low, but it took so much time. The fly came through, and they get the KO on Sableye. We're moving back forward. But Mr. Mime is using their Unite move all over the Clash players here. Tons of damage. 3 players down for Clash. Oblivia's eating out here. It's Nudo's finally finding the groove. They're the Scizor. They're moving forward. We thought for sure it was the Scyther. Not today. Faz with the engage. They're trying to cut off Yan. Yan is doing so much damage. They just need to convert on Nudo. There's 2 players down. Can they find another one? Stark is holding on with every breath they've got. But finally, Nudo converts on them. And Yan is going in. So is Tempo. They get to convert. There's 3 players down for Clash. And this is an absolute slobber knocker. This Mamoswine might be gearing up to buy some time for the reset.
I have never seen a Snorlax fire spinned mid-air and in Heavy Slam. He did. Jumped up in the air and did a pirouette mid-air and then finally landed. All that, a very long fight, some incredible pop-off plays, some big knockouts, but in the end, it's just Delphox's firepower with the Mr. Mime frontline that I was saying was barely not even there, but truly came alive in these final moments, defending that Delphox in a major way, cleared a ton of space, and finally DotA Gamers is showing attention to the Rayquaza, but there's only 26 seconds left in the game.
The Flame Sweep finally picks up Stark, but they find themselves in the backside. 1 Confusion Blast, and they were dusted in half. Stark is low, but that doesn't matter. Bloodline gets KO'd next. And who's else on the chopping block? You're extinct. You're a mammoth from Ice Age, baby. Send packing. Glaceon comes through on the Urshifu. That's a KO too easy. Faz in the middle. Tempo Unite. They're going to sort that out, and there's not enough time to take this Rayquaza and store a bunch of points. DotA Gamers, I am sorry. Clash taking game 1.
Yeah, fantastic gameplay from them. We're a little bit behind in the levels in that early to mid-game point, but the points were not the case, reining in constantly thanks to some great split pushing and some great lane matchups that they were playing to a perfect level. 371 to 122 is your final score line, and Clash kicking this finals off, putting them towards match point.
That looked phenomenal. And you have to give credit where credit is due. Clash's team was chosen meticulously. They chose Zarina first. played maybe into Dota Gamers loans, maybe got them a little sauced up on their own supply here. They didn't take Sableye, which gave it back to Clash for free. And then they went, okay, we're going full cutoff on the Scizor, Scyther, it doesn't matter, with the Sableye, with the Glaceon. We take Mr. Mime to prop up our Zarina, and then they had a huge damage dealer in the pocket. Come on. Come on.
Yeah, just ridiculous there. Look at the damage numbers across the board. I seriously think Anemo has just been this consistent carry on the side of Clash every single time we watch them play. The damage numbers from them so consistent. They're not getting KO'd very often at all, playing very safe, playing very well, but the pop-off moments always seem to be going over towards Yang and Tempo. Really, you know, the playmaking squad of Clash. But they have put themselves to match point. We're going to be headed to game number 2 here very quickly. If you are in Dota Gamer seat, Deuce Next, what do you need to clean up to make it look better in game number 2?
The first thing that kind of stands out to me is we did not see that Mamoswine get into the action. Whereas previously, Dota Gamers had the Mamoswine locked in, it was moving with the rest of the squad. It almost seemed like it couldn't keep up. And finally, when it did show up, it was just a hair late, which meant it was easy to kind of collapse onto for Clash. So that's one thing that stands out, but it's really going to come down to their draft and how they're going to adjust themselves. Because obviously they didn't have Sableye sorted out maybe as well as they thought. And Clash with a pretty unconventional lineup there finds a way to make it happen because they understood the plan that kind of filed its way through those 5 Pokemon.
Yeah, played the range exceptionally well too. The Glaceon and Delphox constantly out of harm's way. Oblivion was doing everything they could possibly do to try to shut them down, was, trying to hyper farm, get up to that level, be that Talonflame carry. Had some big Flame Sweep maneuvers, but shout out to Tempo for dodging a Heavy Slam block Heavy Slam Flame Sweep combination for all that CC was aimed at that Serena, and they still made it out and was able to stay up for another 3 to 4 seconds. But avoiding that big combination wastes a lot of resources from Dota Gamers in that final fight. So big plays there from Tempo,
without a doubt. Let's cue up our Glitch City music for Unite Mics, made specifically for Unite Mics, our brand new music by Glitch City. Let's cue that up. Let's throw up a Be Right Back screen. And let's get ourselves sorted out for game 2 of the finals of Unite Mics Mayhem Season 2, Week 2. Let's go.
You got it. Unite Mike's Mayhem Season 2, Week 2. We are in our finals. Clash currently with a 1-0 lead over Dota Gamers. An amazing game number 1. Deuce Next, what are we looking forward to for the rest of Season 2?
For the rest of Season 2, we've got our Week 3 to get ourselves another winner to put them into our finals, which is next Wednesday, a week from today, is our finals, where we have Ascended World Champions. We also have Shees, South America East, UCS Unite Championship Series qualifiers, and now Clash might be another UCS championship team making their way in as they won the South America West region. So, Zoinks, to make this a little bit more special and to keep these high-level teams competing in Unite Mike's Mayhem and keep them rolling towards the UCS Season 2, we've decided to make the prize pool. The floor is $100, but we've opened up a GoFundMe to really get people invested. So if you do ! prize pool with 2 O's, you can get in there and you can throw $1 or $2 into the pot to make sure that these players understand you're excited about them playing, you're excited about that competition, and we can keep this competitive scene growing and growing.
Absolutely.
And every dime that's in there goes to the prize pool.
Yes, absolutely. So yeah, just to make that absolutely clear, every bit of money that's going towards the GoFundMe goes directly towards the prize pool of Unite Mike's Mayhem Season 2 finale. But we also, of course, on the Unite Mike's channel, any Twitch sub or any donation here on the channel specifically goes to charity every single month. So anywhere where you're donating to anything Unite Mike's, it is going to a good cause. But if you want to donate to the prize pool, that's the GoFundMe. If you want to support a charity, that is via the Twitch channel. So just to make that super clear, that is where to go. Well, we are well into way on draft for this game number 2, so let's hop on over to that. We have the first round of bans. Dota Gamers banning away Sableye, Clash responding in kind banning Snorlax. Dota Gamers then, of course, selected Blissey as their first pick, and Clash, in response, have selected both Serena and Dodrio.
Yeah, no surprise there. If they're willing to first pick Zarina and you let that back on the hop, that's an easy pick. And of course, Dodrio has just been an absolute powerhouse for this Clash squad the whole time we've watched them play, to be quite honest. So Dota Gainers coming back through with the Scizor, what I expected to be a Scyther, but turned out to be a Scizor, and the Mamoswine as well. So the only texture here changing up for Dota Gamers right now is that Blissey.
Yeah, that is true. And I mean, obviously, an incredibly powerful Pokemon, one of the strongest in the metagame at the moment. So a great pickup by Dota Gamers. Of course, a Bloodline who has got a highlight reel of plays on that Pokemon. Now, Dota Gamers' last game did have a composition based completely around the melee attacking, whereas Clash had a couple of ranged Pokemon that were able to feast in that kind of situation. Dota Gamers are making that same kind of draft layout so far, but I would be surprised if that happened again. I would love to see the Cinderace from Big Uzi near the end of this, but it is a very difficult Pokemon to play into a Dodrio.
Yeah, Clash really take into consideration what they believe Dota Gamers is going to draft and what they can get away with, which is why we see Snorlax come out, because it's easier to maneuver probably for what they're looking to do around Mamoswine and Blissey than maybe a big Snorlax block. So, hey, take that out of the equation and see what Dota Gamers is going to feed you. If they give you Sableye again, run, Clash taking the Delphox. Come on. They're getting so many pocket picks in this exchange here. Clash is just like, I'm pretty sure if you went to every individual member of Clash outside of this draft on a one-on-one, you said, hey, you get to play one game of Pokemon Unite. What Pokemon you picking up? These are the 4 that we would see. These are the first 4 answers we would get.
I completely agree. I mean, they love these Pokemon. Obviously, they're showing a very high degree of skill on them. Some would even say mastery. So, really huge shoutouts to them for putting in the time to grind these Pokemon. Delphox, obviously, a lot of people doubted it for a long time, but I think in draft mode is absolutely skyrocketing in value. 2 movesets that both can work into multiple situations. We saw the Fire Spin game happen last time. Poor Bloodline and Faz were just sent reeling every single time they tried to get any kind of engage. The Fire Spin just putting that distance between the damage carries constantly.
The biggest question to me is, does Clash just grab Glaceon for the sake of run backsies and just get it done? If I'm Dota Gamers, I actually take Glaceon off the the bench here, just because it'll allow you a good way to kind of sort out that Dodrio without having to get particularly close. But if Clash gets Glaceon too, they're feeling good. I mean, it's the same 5, and now they don't have to deal with the Snorlax up front.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, could not agree more. Glaceon would be pretty big. I don't even know what else would really fit into that composition outside. I mean, Sable. Oh no, Sableye ban, obviously. Yeah, we will see.
Yeah, I guess Dodrio is the place of that Glaceon. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. It's filling that spot, or the Sableye in past comps too is filling that same slot. I think.
Yeah. So there you go. I mean, Dota Gamer certainly has some options. I don't hate Glaceon for them. I think you really need to cut loose with Big Uzi. Maybe it's that Cinderace, maybe it's that Greninja we talked about. Something comfortable for them where they can really excel and take over a game.
Yeah, I mean, give them the power selections that they are most confident in. I think they can have really big pop-offs. Like I think you just need to enable your high octane players. Okay, we do have our final selections for them. They are going with Cinderace, like we mentioned, and Buzzwole is going to be the other selection.
Okay, there you go. We're finna chuck some fists. Cinderace at least provides a little bit more range than they had in that first game. And Blissey's going to give them a lot of sustain in the face of this Clash squad. So, Clash has a pretty interesting decision to make here, but I think they understand very well what Dota Gamers is going to be bringing to the table. So I wouldn't be surprised to see a very strong pick out of Clash because they've already got 4 favorites in the pocket.
Yeah, no, sure. Yeah, sorry, just letting the teams know what's going on. But yes, we have that last pick, like you were mentioning. Clash 3 damage carries so far. Mr. Mime being selected. No Blissey, no Snorlax, no Mamoswine. I could see a Slowbro. Could be filling out this role. But man, I don't know. There's other selections of. Okay. It won't happen. But
the Sing Wigglytuff.
Okay. That is an option. I honestly wanted Sandtomb Tyranitar, which is not the correct decision, so I'm glad that they didn't make it. Instead, Clash is going to be picking up the Slowbro for this game.
There you go. I like Slowbro. It's a great Pokemon, of course. And maybe in my heart of hearts, I was like, maybe they'll just go with like a Gravity Clefable and just ice everyone down. But, going with the tried and true, Snorlax is Stonks definitely went to the moon here during the pick ban, as usually they're a little bit just a hair below the acceptable line for competitive defenders. But now that some get banned, some get chosen, it finds itself in more games than before. So as somebody that enjoys playing Slowbro, I love to see it.
Yeah, I love to see it too. I mean, speaking of draft viability raising, you were mentioning Slowbro's one of the top of those lists. Also, the same reason as Delphox, multiple movesets are viable. So, again, just that Swiss Army knife level of versatility is going to be very, very big. I am going to murder these teams for constantly swapping sides, but one day I'll make them not.
Yeah, it's just a typing and it's a logistical thing, folks. It's just like, help us.
Please.
Nemo, yes, it looks like the Dodrio was the replacement, of course, for the Glaceon, as Nemo finds themselves on them. Stark picking up the Slowbro, Yan on Delphox, of course. Tempo on Zarina, of course. Kia in another support role, grab of the Mime.
Stark with the choice specs on the Slowbro, that would lead me to believe we're looking at a Scald style of build, getting that big burst of damage that applies only to your moves and not your basic attacks. Could make a lot of sense to me. Oblivion on the objectively correct Buzzwole build of attack weight, muscle band, weakness policy, and X attack. Love to see it. I have many, many hours on this Pokemon, so I am a big believer in this one. So
Bloodline back on the Blissey. Faz gonna try do some work with the prehistoric pig mammo thing. Pig mammoth. Is that what it is? It's a pig mammoth. That's what it is now.
Yeah.
And then Yan. Yeah, exactly. The Mammut. And then of course Yan on that Delphox with the drip. Great Hollowware. And Yan definitely winning the Hollowware battle between these two teams right now.
Yes, that is true. Now, I'm so sorry we've hit one more technical difficulty, so
No.
we are going to throw back to our faces. We just have hit a audio bug, so we're going to do a quick restart and then we'll get back into it. My apologies, everybody. It will be a very short break, I promise. I'll just bring up the draft screen again so we can take a look at that.
Yeah, I know we kind of beat the brakes off of the Clash lineup here, but tempo
Yeah.
on that Zarina. I mean, that was a first pick for them out of the bans. Now they got two on the hop, so they got that, and they got Animo's Dodrio, Yan getting Delphox, and then between the tank players here, they got themselves two good ones too between Kia and Stark. Slowbro and Mr. Mime. Kia was on the Sableye game one, did a lot of good work, very menacing. Can see if we can stitch him up, if we're going to go like Barrier Confuse Blast, or if we're just going to go into that guard swap right on top of this arena. And remember, Stark was playing the Mr. Mime last time.
Right. Yeah, that's true. We'll see how well they can play that one. Now, Dota Gamer's composition, I think, is pretty interesting. Are we going to see the Scizor again? Nudo in game number one was playing a ton of Serena. We've seen them, of course, at the World Championships playing that Pokemon quite a bit. So I think that just lends more credence to Clash first picking that Serena, right? It is, of course, a Pokemon that your team is incredibly capable at playing. However, it is at the same time a counter pick to what Dota Gamers is comfortable with. So really good read that they're finding there.
Yeah, you can't take those opportunities for granted. When you have an opportunity to get a great Pokemon for yourself and cut off objectively one of your opponent's best Pokemon, you can't fumble the bag on the one. You gotta make that pick. And glad to say that we haven't had any Unite Mike's Mayhem situations where that has presented itself, not to my knowledge.
No,
not that I remember, I should say.
I also agree. I can't remember a time that has happened either. Yeah.
What do you think about this Buzzwole pick on the anchor here?
So, okay, I love it, mostly because of just evidence. I'm just going to point to history. Every time Oblivion has played this in lane, that lane has been dominantly won by their team. I think it's a combination of a few things. I think players do not know how to play against this Pokemon in Path yet. I think it is a really tough Pokemon to do so against, and that high amount of crowd control is just ridiculously strong. I mean, superpower is just one of the strongest moves in the game, in my opinion, especially because of the splash damage that it has when you land. Great players utilize muscle gauge really well. We have, of course, the leaning into of X attack from Oblivion as well. So just these big bursts of damage, as well as, of course, the Beast Boost passive. Just everything used in combination, I think, equal a fantastic Pokemon. So I am excited to see it.
The breath of fresh air to me for Dota gamers to see Big Uzi on that Cinderace. We've been talking a lot about the Greninja, and that's a Pokemon that you and I have had some amazing moments casting while Big Uzi has played that Pokemon.
Right.
So maybe I'm just harkening back to some nostalgia there, hoping for some of it. But this Cinderace is nothing to scoff at. They played it a game in their round one match here today and looked very impressive.
It's true. I mean, there's two tanks on the side of Clash as well, so Cinderace is going to play very well into those. However, they are going to have a harder time on the other side. They're going to have a very hard time with both Dodrio and Serena. Can be tough. Depends how well you can Blaze Kick around the Serena when they have Unite move. How well can you dodge it? That is going to be a very big question that they're going to need to ask.
Well, if there's a team that can do it, it's Clash. The spacing that the Delphox and Anemo and the Glaceon, now on the Dodrio, provided themselves last game with no real front-facing or front-playing Pokemon to kind of absorb some of that damage was really fun to watch and offers a different look at the approach you can take to the game, that if you truly understand your spacing and your evasiveness, then you can make those types of decisions where you don't have a big chunky frontliner and you can still find yourself a path to success.
Yeah, and you're gonna have to in draft mode pretty often. I think you're gonna have to find those sort of off the beaten path solutions in some of these situations. Now I can unmute this stream now that we have no audio bug this time around. Okay, Oblivion sticking with that same build. Big Uzi running that muscle band, rapid scarf, and scope lens, going for a higher critical hit chance. Of course, on the side of Clash, no Pokemon that can really utilize that rapid fire scarf yet. I love that Fast has it on Mamoswine, by the way, though. I love that.
Yeah, I've been eyeing that up. It looks like a recipe for success. I've seen a couple different loadouts just from the different teams tonight. We've seen Rapid Fire Scarf with Cookie and Focus Band, and we've also seen Rapid Fire Scarf with uh, Focus Band, and holy smokes, I can't believe I'm
Buddy Barrier.
duffing
Buddy Barrier. It's been a
Good
minute.
Lord.
It has been a minute.
Good
Now,
Lord.
Buddy Barrier, I think, is a great response, especially to Pokemon like Slowbro and Serena, who have these individual lockdown unite moves. Buddy Barrier is going to do a great world of service to them if they get caught in that terrifying situation. Unite, get that Buddy Barrier onto your squad, help them out a little bit. So Faz a believer there. Last time we saw Fav and Unite Mike's Mayhem, I believe they were running the leftovers. So a world of difference here in Season 2.
Yeah, we're finding that we have a few more held items and battle items available to us here.
Which is
choosing
so
something that is, I mean, sure, of course. The fact that there's new items put into the game, and the fact that old items are finding new breaths of life here in Unite Mike's Mayhem during these pick ban tournaments is great to see.
Yeah, it's true. One day I do want to run pick ban held item tournament, but that will have to be a different day. It'd be very exciting. Oblivion getting pretty courageous for stacks here. 1v2, Muscle Gauge full on, tries to get the big knockout with Fell Stinger, but the escape from Yang is succeeded with a nice full heal.
Yeah, that water gun straight out of a Super Soaker 2000, going ahead and sorting out that buzz while pacing him to the wall as Bloodline can't stop the Slowpoke from getting their points in.
Faz gets a little bit of a slow with that Ice Shard. This icy Pokemon, of course, gets that freeze passive effect on any Pokemon as soon as they land those attacks. Gets that frozen keyword, which locks them in place. Not normally going to be a big capitalization from them, but watch out for the Cinderace and Scyther to make major moves whenever that happens.
Anemo able to peel out. They got chunked a little bit by the Raboot as they were coming up through that central, excuse me, not the central area, but the center of the map. And now Dodrio for Clash. Look where they're going to live. They're trying to backdoor Dota here, see if they can close in on that Raboot. Oh, they missed the boosted auto on Uzi in there. That allows them to get out. Now Anemo might pay for that duff there, as now they're putting the pressure on. It's Nudo that gets a KO back the other way. Well, they smelled blood in the water, but it turned out to just be red dye. Bait and switch. They get sorted out. Dota getting the push out here.
Uzi a little greedy there, or just had no idea that Tempo was in that bush at all, but either way, does get knocked out. It's a lot of experience moving back towards Tempo, so they did lose a big fight in lane, but I think that knockout is going to kind of swing things closer to parity than they were at least a moment ago. Nuno also getting knocked out by Clash. Great 2v1 team fight there.
Clash really had a bit of a blunder. Dota capitalized, but then he literally hemorrhaged it right back into Clash's hands. So they've got to feel okay. They said, okay, we're given a break there. Let's not let that happen again, as Anemo's going to go engage into the middle, but Clash is already there. And I believe that was Stark on the Mr. Mime sorting that out. Or excuse me, Kia on the Mr. Mime sorting that out in the middle, getting more experience for the Clash squad.
Now, Oblivion is going to have a hard time going into a lot of crowd control, like Fire Spin, anything that Slowbro can put out, but the safeguard from Bloodline is going to be very huge. See, that even cleanses away that burn effect from the Scald, so is going to do even more features than just breaking them free from crowd control.
Yeah, Big Uzi catching the reset, going to be able to jump back into their central area here in short order if they'd like to. Bloodline and Oblivion working together, and Faz may be disconnected, it looks like, here, as we're just battling in the middle, and that poor Swinub is nowhere near to be found on the Sky Ruins.
Yeah, I am of the opinion we just reset Dupes next.
Yep, we're only 3 minutes in. Let's get that sorted out.
Good. Yeah. Well, let's do that. Unfortunate, we got another DC. Sorry about that, everybody. It does happen, but yes, we are going to, I mean, teams are doing pretty well right now, but I mean, Faz still is in lobby, so we will jump to a be right back, I think, as we figure this one out.
Yep, be right back.
All right, Faz looks a little bit different this time around. We got a sub in. The Mamoswine is going to be selected by Slash this time around. Going to be filling in for Dota Gamers as the substitute. Since we have a full-on disconnect on the side of Faz, no news from them, but that's all right. The show must go on. Unite Mike's Mayhem, Week 2, Season 2. Don't stop for nobody. We're headed into game number 2.
Listen, we bring in that action. We'll sort out the back end when we need to here.
True.
But unfortunately, Faz with Thanos snapped off the planet. Rest of us are in good shape. Call your loved one afterwards. Faz did not make it. So we have Slash in here to make this happen so we can get these finals sorted out so we can keep ourselves on track for next week because we got big time all winners finals next week. And we need to make sure one of these two teams makes that date.
That is true. Clash is still on match point. They did win that last game. 1-0 is our scoreline, obviously. Excited to see if Clash can keep it running or if Dota Gamers is going to put a halt to that. We're headed into game number 2.
Game number 2 is underway. Here we go. Of course, Clash has got to be feeling like they might have been slighted a little bit here, but in the sake of fairness, from our understanding, that DC happened about a minute into the game, so we just didn't pick up on it, and that's what happens when you don't have an entire production team, right? You have the 2 casters and true. Gamma helping us out. We can't keep eyes on everything. We got to focus on the action. So here we go. We figured it out. We're underway. Slash is sorting it out. Tempo's dealing a ton of damage. Tempo trying to get in there, but they're off to a slow start. They're getting walled off, and they not making it to the goal zone. Big question mark. Can they get there? We'll see.
Ooh, Slash is under a lot of onslaught. KO and Tempo putting in a lot of damage. Of course, the stacks come in, and we have the evolution into CD from Tempo. Nudo coming in dangerously close, though. You do not want to be anywhere near that side through when you have not hit level 6 as Serena, trying to dodge away from Nudo as much as they can until the backup's here, and it pays off, and Nemo secures the KO on Nudo.
A good leash around, and essentially what it looked to me the Steenie was doing is like maybe the KO wasn't priority number 1, like obviously they take it, but they were buying time for the wall to come up so they could pin Nudo behind the wall and let that Steenie out. Now you got that courtesy KO with the boosted auto, chipping it up as the roadblocks came up from the earth and popped them up there, so you got to be happy about that. Oblivion going to take the last bird, but it looks like Clash took the rest of it, and Clash looking in form here, 32-16 early.
Woo! A very clean early game from them. Middle birds about to spawn in about 30 seconds, which of course is usually the next target of our fight. But Nemo wants one early, looking for a bit of a central area invade. Slash tries to prevent it, but only a level 4 is not going to be able to do any damage. But it is enough to scare a Nemo all the way back and secure their own central area Pokemon.
And they're able to sort that out in short order. You know what I'm saying? Too easy as Clash and the rest of the squad is moving forward. Slash getting popped into that wall, and now Kia's going to try to make it out, but it's Nudo able to close the door on them before they can retreat.
Dual wing beat range is terrifyingly large. You never expect it to be so, but it is in a major way. All of those middle birds go over to the side of Dota Gamers, but in Clash fashion, the scoreline has not halted at all. 92-16 before we're almost at 100 points before we even hit the 7-minute mark.
Tempo just waiting in the tall grass. As soon as Dota tried to make a move for the goal zone, they just popped out, and it forced both players for Dota to just say, nope, 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 and they ran right away. Both Slash and Nudo hard on the retreat once they saw that Tempo Zarina roll up.
Yang not as hard-pressed as last game. They do find the Delphox evolution before we even hit the 7-minute mark. Nudo caught in a very dangerous place. Slashcan doing whatever they can to support. Rapid-fire Scarf freezes, trying to come into effect, but it's not quite enough. Tempo finds the knockout. Well, actually, I think it was K that turned the quality for that one.
Yep, Kea came through, Confusion Blast, hit the stitches, and they got KO'd immediately. Zarina takes care of the Pillow-Swine, beating the absolute dust out of them, and they got some points, and Clash, again, looking good, as Stark and Yan seem to schmoove. That's already a Delphox, zoinks.
Yeah, level 7 to boot as well. Yang popping off Mystical Fire, trying to find big marks, earn themselves those cooldown resets, and Registeel is the first basement Regi of the game. Obviously, the largest priority of the 3 available. Both teams showing a lot of face towards this one, especially since no goal zones have broken in the top path quite yet.
Yang's doing a good job at getting some space in from Oblivion, buying enough time for Nemo to come in and look at that combo breaker. Just a fireball shot and a dart in, and it sorts out, and he just falls just a little bit short. Oblivion gets KO'd. The Delphox gets KO streak of 2, and now they're pivoting onto this Registeel as they've bought all the time in the world, and Bloodline just shows up to hit one of those electric zappers. Bzz, you are a bug, and you are gone, and so is this goal zone.
Good math there. A 2-point score to allow it to make that goal zone, remaining on just 1. And Nemo trying to do the math of what 40 split into 3 would be. How big would that overdunk? And maybe it's just a bait as Tempo brings in Bloodline and does a ton of damage to them early.
Delphox Unite comes in, and a bunch of players of Dota are in there, and that's a huge swamp, buying just enough time for Yan to get there 40 and get there in 39-point overdunk. Great show. Catch it on Apple Podcasts, any podcast feed you can find it.
Yes, thank you. Normally I'm the one that dedicates the shout out, but it means a lot to have somebody else on it now that you are a new co-host. Nudo, not quite at level 9, but the damage numbers that Scyther can put out at level 8 are tremendous. That power swap onto them is going to deter them from chasing down at all. Great play by Stark on the Mr. Mime to create a little bit of space. I believe Stark's playing the Mime this game, right? No,
yep,
KO.
Exactly.
Sorry, Stark's on
the KO's on the map. And look at that, just a good little telekinesis. We got the Unite move on Nudo. They get gobbled up and they get absolutely hosed down. This is the firefighter Stark mode out here as the Regieleki's getting chewed up and Clash is chewing up on Dota. They can't even find any purchase. They're stuck in their own goal zone. The Regieleki's walking towards it, and they do get just a short overdunk of 4 points there to let that Regieleki hit into that second goal zone, force Dota to play a little defense.
Yeah, Big Uzi's
huge fight for the Unite as they're trying to sort it out, but it's a Delphox Unite back the other way. Tons of damage going in. SlashCan gets caught in it. 2 players down for Dota. They're looking for the push. Bloodline's low, but it's the Buzzwole still looking for that action as Clash, Tempo, Kea are working through, and they're doing a ton of damage. Big Uzi finally chases them off with those fiery kicks, and the Regieleki might be stopped just shy, but look where Clash went immediately into the central area trying to take all the stuff they can.
Yeah, they do steal away the red buff and escape. Big Uzi's Unite move did get canceled around the Regieleki. I think they were waiting for that Unite for a big secure moment on that objective. They did not get it. The Bliss assistance came a little bit later than expected, so they did not go through that. Did mean that they had it for the push onto their tier 2, able to utilize it, but I seriously think a huge play by Stark, that Scald to lower the attack damage of 3 members of Dota Gamers really made that situation go from really bad to maybe okay and a potential to steal a red buff.
Yo, the tempo's off the charts right now. Nudo trying to went into scrap, and they should have known what Zarina was capable of. They got stomped at the absolute dust. You know what? Listen. Bugs can get chewed up by fire. They can certainly get stepped on too, and that's exactly what Zarina's doing, sorting them out. Oblivion's about to get chewed up in between those 2 big myths that Kia calls gloved hands. And now SlashCan's getting dusted too, sending that back to its prehistoric state. The Ice Age, baby, lock it down. What are you doing on this planet at this day and age? That's the big question. Clash answering them all in short order.
One more Regieleki is going to show his face before this game is over, and with that tier 2 goal zone broken on the side of Dota Gamers, it is a large threat. Clash showing a lot of presence towards it. With only a minute left in the game, it'll probably have to be knocked out before final stretch timers, but Big Uzi doing a decent amount of damage to Kea.
Yeah, Kea just guard swapped and retreating into Yang and just putting everybody under the line of fire. Here's the Slowbro gets the KO back on the Buzzwole. The big Buzzwole can't seem to do much with those muscles. They must be all for show out here in the Thea Sky Ruins.
And that team fight win has brought them enough space that Regieleki will be knocked out by them without too much contest. Only player available is going to be Slash on the Mammo. It's brought down to about half HP, but no one really has to secure from this range, and they're going to delete the Mammo Swine first.
Yeah, it's absolutely sorted out, and I've said that's the level 0 focus fire question, and that question is being answered by Clash. They know exactly what to do. They bought enough time. The Regieleki completely reset, but look at that health bar getting absolutely depleted here. Regieleki's going to be flying in the face of Dota with 6 seconds until Rayquaza.
This game has been all Clash for the last 8 minutes. We're heading into the final stretch, though. If Dota Gamers was going to turn it around, if ever, this is the time to do so. A final stretch instant score thanks to Regieleki. Tempo just asked their scoreline in a different department this time around as Dota has initiated the flip of the Ray.
Yeah, it's at half, and Dota's trying to work their way in here. Delphox Unite doesn't really find much purchase. Stark needs to find Slash Cam, but it looks like Rayquaza has been completely shielded off from. Is anybody from Dota going to go try and score? They're trying to catch the bodies here as Kay is getting caught out, and Oblivion sorts them out. 2 players down for Clash. Dota finding an opportunity here. Noda's getting real low, and they're playing far forward. Tempo goes down. That's 3 players down for Clash, and it's 2 of their big ones, too. Stark trying to do it using their Unite move on Bloodline. They're going to close that out, but Yang can't. Their Fireball falls just a bit short. The Mario dots bouncing right over it here, as it seems. Stark turning around trying to find Oblivion. Oblivion gets another KO. 2 players down for Clash, but they're starting to come off respawn here, and now Oblivion's trying to find out Stark. They chip them up, they send them away. The Rayquaza's low, but we got some action here in the middle, and Dota Gamers does take it. Can they convert, though? They have a big time lead, does Clash, and they need to keep these points going in. They need to eviscerate some shields, but I don't know if they have enough defense to make that happen, Zoinks.
They're down by a lot of points. That's really the only thing going for Dota Gamers right now. They're 3 100 scores. They do not have the lead, but thanks to a blissy score by Bloodline in the main home goal zone, they are going to get it. Now they have a 522 to 387 lead. There are 30 seconds left of the game. Clash needs to charge towards the enemy base, but currently they have no one even close to scoring margins.
No, and Tempo being the one to go to score that 50 might have spelled the doom for Clash, because they weren't there to engage in that big team fight. By the time they showed up, it was a bit late. All the moves have been spent, and nothing could be sorted out here. And they're trying to catch Nudo, but Nudo's catching bodies here as they use their Unite move, and it forces out the Mr. Mime Unite for no value. Now Nudo's going to retreat, and Dota Gamers is going to take game 2.
Yeah, big flip situation, but it worked out on the side of Dota Gamers. Clash just a little bit too separated in their team fight, allowed Oblivion to kind of go off in those final moments, and Dota Gamers is going to tie this one up 1-1.
It's, I mean, if you're Clash, you've got to be a little perturbed here. And you can't really excuse the first 3 minutes. That one game will reset because you're winning the first 9 minutes of that one. And Dota Gamers flipped it on its head here. So if I'm Clash, I just got to take a deep breath, focus on what you can, and find that way to win here. They were so close before in Unite Mayhem Season 1. They need to find it if they want to continue their Unite Mike Season 2 career.
Yeah, very, very true. Jump back to us. We are going to have Clash makes the decision of they want A or B. So I had a message them right now, but we head into game number 3. Draft is going to be very interesting. I feel like Clash has been having a fantastic draft game all tournament. Dota Gamers really picked it up in that last one that we saw, and the flip was there. Scyther got that final secure on the Rayquaza. I don't know if Clash lets Scyther go over to Dota Gamers yet again.
Yeah, it's going to be tough. Well, I mean, if Nudo picks Sizzle, I guess you're okay with it.
Sure.
So I don't know if that was an accident game 1 or what the situation was, but that Scyther looked very impressive in Nudo's hands. That being said, it really only looked impressive in the last couple minutes. It was kind of getting gobbled up the rest of the time wherever it was on the map. If I'm Dota Gaming, I don't think I let Clash have Zarina for the 3rd time. I either take it for myself or I ban it immediately. Nudo would love to see Zarina, and I know I'd love to see not in Clash hands if I'm Dota Gamers as well, but they're going straight to the core here. They're banning Blissey again.
There we go. All right, let's see what Dota Gamers ban is.
This is going to be very, very interesting. I think Clash still first picks Zarina if you give them the opportunity.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But I don't necessarily see Dota Gamers banning it. Maybe though. Like Sableye
is such a problem for them though, right? Like
true.
That's like what I mean. So was Tempo last game. Like Zarina, like quite literally walked all over them. But you need to have some kind of answer. You really, really do.
Dota Gamers has a lot of things to consider here. They do have a substitute player who just happens to be one of the best support players on the planet, stepping in as a sub. So I'd be remiss to say they might play a strategy that plays into that player's hand.
No, that's true. Well, I mean, they're kind of mostly known for their Blissey, right? So that is I'm going to be banned away by Clash right out the gate. So just great banning mentality from that squad. We do have the Serena ban this time around. Interesting. Okay, we were talking about it, how it was a huge potential. It might be what we need to do, but Dota Gamers banning the Serena.
Okay. So,
Now what's their first pick? Sableye first pick then? No,
I
Dodrio maybe.
yeah, Dodrio. I just don't know if anybody on Dota wants to pick up Dodrio, but there you go. Clash definitely wants it.
Oblivion would want it.
So yeah. So Dota Gamers has the opportunity to lock themselves up a good old Sableye.
Yeah, I would assume they're gonna pick that up. I don't know who plays Sableye on that squad. Out of that team from who I know. I mean, I'm sure someone can pick up the Gremlin, but who do you want to go into it? I would love a Glaceon selection here from Dota. I really do think Glaceon is a great answer to Dodrio, one of my personal favorite against that Pokemon, and is just very strong in the metagame right now. Doesn't get invaded too easily, hits that power spike early. I don't know. I think the Glaceon would be a great selection out of two, but also not giving them Sableye is also just a good strategy.
Sure. So Clash is already thinking forward. Does gamers believe they've figured out Sableye? I mean, they didn't care about it game one, so are they going to care about it game two? If they don't, Clash will be more than happy to have it, I'm sure.
Yeah, very, very true. Mamo, Sableye are the selections.
Makes a lot of sense. Great defender. Keep the pesky Ghost Goblin onto your team and make Clash deal with it this time.
Exactly.
And they're going to pick Glaceon.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of assumed that Clash would be selecting Glaceon. Yeah. Okay. Also, yeah, we do have word Fast has like a power outage in their entire area, so
Okay.
That is the case for them. But all good, all good. That being said, we do have two picks back to back for Clash. You were shouting out the Glaceon as a great selection for them. I completely agree. I think that would be a good option for Clash to pick up. I also wouldn't hate Snorlax in this spot, but we'll see. Oh, okay. Not going with the Snorlax. They did select the Glaceon though, so great call out, Dubsnax. The evolution of the ice variety has been selected, but Mr. Mime is the other pick here.
Okay. Mr. Mime with a great power potential. It might be looking to link up with a brawler type Pokemon up front a little bit later on. Dota has the opportunity though to grab I mean, I don't necessarily see them grabbing a Snorlax, but they certainly could if they wanted to. The floor's really open for Dota gamers at this point. I don't think Clash and Dota gamers are looking for the same type of things, and I don't necessarily think they're picking away from each other right now.
Yeah. One thing that Clash needs to keep in mind, though, with Sableye on the side of Dota gamers is your last hit secure is all of a sudden very up in the air, right? If you have a last hit secure Pokemon that gets confused raid, well, you are having a bad time. So you really need to think about what Pokemon that you are kind of giving that role to of the main objective secure, your Smiter, if we were looking at a different kind of MOBA game. But so that would have to be very in question for me if I'm trying to build my team on Clash.
Yeah, I think Clash genuinely believes they'll be able to last pick Delphox again. And it sort of seems like they're building their squad that way.
Yeah. Yeah, very interesting. We haven't seen an Eldegoss in quite some time from either team. I think Eldegoss is in a interesting spot. I think Rapid Fire Scarf is absolutely dope on that Pokemon. It's an auto attack menace, so early lane games I think can go very, very well for either team that does select it. However, what it's going into has been a problem in the past. But we're going to have Dota gamers just selecting the Scyther yet again. They're going to grab the Scyther, and they're also going to grab the other bug Pokemon available, not Crustle. They are going to grab Buzzwole.
For the amount of times I've said Crustle today, it not actually having ever been selected is a little egregious. But there you go. Bug typing showing up. Oblivion really found their groove, certainly in the last 2 minutes, 30 seconds of the game, able to get some big time one-on-one KOs just by themselves and really hunt down the rest of the Clash players. And that's all a product of tempo with this arena going to score and Kea not being with the rest of the team. I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing to let the Regieleki hit, score once, and then try and make your way back. Probably would have preferred the double scores might have messed that up, or the triple scores might have messed that up. Well, it's just tough, right? But the problem was there was two of them away from the rest of the team, not just one trying to quickly score and get back. So that's kind of what seemed off in that particular strategy here. But hey, you give Oblivion the opportunity with your team all split up, we clearly know they're going to line them up and put them down.
And I mean, silver lining for Clash, Oblivion has no safeguarding Blissey for them any longer, right? So that is going to make it very, very hard for Buzzwole to find the same value that it was last game when it isn't just immune to every kind of crowd control you try to throw out towards it. So Clash does have some more reasonable counterplay towards the Buzzwole. However, Oblivion is an amazing player and knows this Pokemon inside and out. So I'm not saying it's extremely easy, but they do have some counterplay. One of those pieces is going to be a Snorlax pick for the side of Clash. I like this one. Prevent DotA from maybe selecting it on their side, and they are going to be picking Delphox as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And here's the thing. Yang's going to be playing the Fire Spin here. Fire Spin build. If you noticed in game 2 when Dota gamers had the Blissey, they pick the schmoovier Delphox, as old Muck likes to call it. Shout out to that boy Muck. But game 1, it was Fire Spin game because Blissey was banned. So I expect that to come through again. Some good CC through the squad here from kind of bell to bell. Clash has the opportunity to punch their ticket into next week. Dota gamers, they got one pick to bring some balance to these scales.
Yeah, like a lot of attack damage, a decent front line, but I don't know, the sustain isn't really there, which is a potential, but why go for something like that when you can just pick Greninja?
Love it. Big Uzi tipping the cap to the biggest bamboozler there is. Old Snacks out here, and he's saying, you want Greninja, we'll give you Greninja for this final game of Unite Mike's Mayhem Season 2, Week 2, because this is Game 3 of the finals.
The finals, we're coming to one of the best conclusions. Seriously, one of the best series that we have had, despite some technical issues. But other than that, we have been having some fantastic games tonight. I'm excited to see the conclusion of this one. This is 10 minutes to decide the victor. Winner goes home. Winner continues on to play in the finals next week.
Can't wait to see who it is. Hopefully these teams are lobbying up here because I'm excited to look at these items, specifically with what Clash is bringing to the table. Is Dota going to lean more into those full heals now? That's going to be the big question in my mind.
Yeah. I mean, full heal hitting that nerf really has turned teams away from it, eh? Like, they just, it seems to have been hitting a lot harder than I imagined it ever would, but still, I imagine it'd be a little more prevalent, though Nudo and Uzi both locking in the full heal.
Yeah, it got nerfed, but it's not useless, right? It still has value. Tempo themselves has picked up the full heal, of course. With the float stone, they're going to be moving them across the map. We know that. No questions about it. Oblivion, you said with the right loadout, they're running it back, no problems. And again, Bloodline with the rapid fire scarf on the Mamoswine, something I'm excited to try out once this tournament's over.
Yeah, I like Anemo's energy amplifier as well. I don't think we've talked too much about their item build just because it's pretty standard for most Glaceons, but I mean, a level 8 Unite move is definitely something that you want to double down on in terms of strategy. So item loadout building around that very powerful swinging move makes a lot of sense to me. So Glaceon building that way, I love it. Anemo's obviously played it to an immaculate level. They're going to have a tougher time though. Sableye, Greninja, even Buzzwole in some cases are going to be pretty bad problems for them to deal with. You're going to be relying on the Dodrio to be a pain in Dota gamers' side so that you can just be the traditional damage carry.
Yeah, without a doubt. And we're going to see tempo on the Dodrio, which is an important thing to note as well, because when they're on the Zarina, you know, the Dodrio responsibilities fell to Anemo, but Anemo was really, really grooving on the Glaceon. So them seeing that, they have to be comfortable with that. And here comes /Can.
No experience share on the Sableye as well. So very interesting from them. They are going to secure the last hit, though, onto the red buff, steal that one away. But the split of the central area is going to be happening again from Clash, netting Glaceon that level 4 evolution before any buffs have been taken by them.
Yeah, and Kia, seeing the writing on the wall, knowing the Sableye was going to crosstown shootout on them, that they went in, they're going to try and get a buff from themselves out from under Big Oozle. The Big Oozle was just bamboozled, and Kia gets themselves a buff, and they're dealing a ton of damage to Uzi, as they might be looking to retreat. That substitute pops up, and that little Froakie is on their way to the bottom path.
Slash barely makes it away. The damage from the Ndidi almost knocking them out. That's supposed to be a different player on their team. But they do escape with their lives. Kia, on the other hand, not going to be happening. They get knocked out. First round of Burrs. Clash is definitely under-leveled. Oblivion looks for an angle in, gets a Mega Punch just on the Stark, but not enough damage to really start throwing haymakers.
Yeah, that was a big-time KO. Nudo gets another one in the top path on that lone Doduo, and now they're just pushing in the face of Clash. It was almost like that last minute was the paddles to the chest and getting resuscitated from Dota, because they looking alive this game, taking them a while to get ready. But Clash is putting their back against the wall right now, and they're trying to fight their way out.
Yeah, Bloodline playing a pretty fantastic Mamo in the early games too. Just a Swinna, but is playing that role quite well. Blue buff is not stolen away by Chaos. Sableye just a little bit too much to deal with for that Snorlax. EXP share though, you're not too worried about giving up a knockout here. You know that the passive experience will still be flooding your direction.
Amazing that Slash's Sableye can catch up to tempo there, kind of ran across the map and found their way. That's what happens when you get so many run items, if you will. That floatstone on the Sableye, and already its natural speed is so fast, and now Dota Gamers taking everything in the middle, where normally we've seen Clash there first, taking everything.
Yeah, the levels race is definitely going to the side of Dota Gamers. A level 7 Greninja and a level 8 Scyther all ready for Nudo. So doing a fantastic early game route for that Pokemon. Already at level 8, so close to that level 9. If you can hit that breakpoint and Unite move around first Reggie, that's ridiculous and a lot of value for your team.
Thought for sure Yan was going to go with that fire spin, but it looks like they've elected off of it for this one, and we'll see how that pays off, as Clash is just a little bit far behind, but now it's Big Uzi getting a KO streak of 2 in tandem with the Big Bug, and they're going to be able to shatter that goal zone in short order just in time for Regieleki. A Slash Can engages big, and that's a big Icicle Crash as it comes through, and Oblivion's finding a Nemo, and they're getting that KO. 2 players down for Clash. Dota Gamers is still pushing in, trying to hold it down. They get a reciprocatory KO back on the Piloswine, but that is not enough, as tempo is dusted by the Sableye. Registeel's half HP. Kea and Yan are going to have to do a lot of work in the face of 3. Big Uzi uses the big Unite and surfs right through for the KO.
Man, Dota Gamers is absolutely popping off in this early game. That's both Reggie's earned from them. Nudo just leveling up constantly at the top path, earns themselves a Reggie all headed all the way down to tier number 2. And that's going to be a goal zone break in the bottom path as well, with just Chaos Snorlax there to defend against the Regieleki.
The script has truly been flipped here, as now Nudo's hunting down the Dodrio, and they get an easy KO after they go for the hard engage with their Unite move, and they're pushing back forward. Nudo is level 10. Kia is dusted. KO streak of 2 as that Regieleki hits. The Snorlax couldn't even stand to that Scyther. It's so huge. And now Tempo's going to try and make up some ground, but it can't. It goes in. It gets one little shuriken to the grill, and it's forced to retreat immediately, zoinks. And this Clash team is getting flipped on its head, and Dota Gamers look like a completely different squad.
Seriously, they have leveled up in a major way. Bloodline gets their evolution to level 9, finally by getting some middle objective experience. Stark trying to secure the Altaria. I believe Bloodline takes that one too. Rapid Fire Scarf helping them out a little bit in this situation. More auto attacks means more freeze, and Stark's having a tough time dealing with it so far.
Yeah, without a doubt. Without a doubt. Actually, it's just an understatement, is what it is. A burned Unite move here is just the chip shot surf sorts them out, and we'll see if they can leverage that into anything, as they're going straight for a Nemo, and here comes Oblivion with the support. Nemo gets the sure hits in, and they do get a KO. That's good damage, or excuse me, good experience back into the face and into the hands of Clash, and it forces Dota to retreat. So Clash is down, but they're certainly not out.
Interesting maneuvers from the Big Uzi. It seems that someone bamboozled the big Oozle. That was a rough spot for them. Oblivion locked in place by the Snorlax. Great block power swap combination. Every last bit of damage thrown into that damage carry as well. QLASH getting back on the board. Big engage on Nanudo, started off by KO.
Yeah, and they're going to have to do some work on the goal zone. Delphox Unite comes out, and the Glaceon Unite comes out as well. Can they close the door? That's the Mayhem Unite trying to buy some time, and yes, they do get the KO on the Scyther. It's going to be good experience, but Bloodline's charging down. They want Yang in a big way. They get them tusked up, but it's the Dodrio getting 2 KOs back in the other direction. And they're desperately trying to find Slash Can, as Tempo is just trying to find their way into some HP here. Bloodline is chipping into Star. Can they help them out? A Nemo comes in with the save, and Clash is rallying rallying back on the experience score sheet.
Yeah, and Oblivion just doesn't have the damage potential to knock out Regirock quick enough. Slashcan just roaming, trying to get a little bit of intel for the rest of the team. Kea actually breaks that goal zone. A little bit late, though. The whole squad's there. Tempo with a big Unite move on the Dojiro to create some space. And now the Regirock should be as good as Clashes as they have the full attention of the bottom objective Pokemon.
Yeah, Tempo has pulled everyone off of there. They might get KO'd here by Slash in the back, but that's good experience for Slash. But the Regirock isn't down yet. Who's going to take it? Bloodline engages, and they take it. Bloodline takes it. A page out of Sauto's book from last week, and now the KOs are falling because that is a heck of a boost there for Bloodline, you legend. Getting it done, goring that Registeel down with those huge tusks.
Yeesh, what an advantage that should have been Clash's, stolen right out from under their noses. Bloodline just getting that big body involved. Gets it in the way, becomes a problem, and Clash just can't quite deal with it. Fantastic work from them. Great secure on that Regirock.
Yeah, the Glaceon Unite comes out. They want that Scyther bad. That is worth a lot of experience to Anemo, but here comes Slashcan to cut them off. Popped up and forces out the Mime Unite. Can they get Slashcan back the other way? This little gremlin Pokemon is so resilient, despite being so small and squishy, and now they're forcing a Goal Zone Siege. The Fire Spin comes out, and they're going to try and find their way. The Delphox Unite as well, but it's not hitting anybody. But Big Uzi goes for the Surf Engage, chips up a couple. Kia Heavy Slams, doesn't hit anybody. Finally, Big Oozle goes down, is bamboozled, and that Goal Zone is getting dusted here, and the Regieleki might be sent in the face of DotA, but do they care? Yes, they have to kind of care, because if it hits, there can be an overdunk there for Clash.
Yeah, the trademarked kind of care for Regieleki headed towards the goal zone. 20 points won't do too much, but it will make that goal zone lower on HP, prime it up for a bit stronger of an overdunk in the final stretch. They are going to delete it in short order. Clash just needs to try to farm up a little bit, try to hit some level 12 breakpoint on this Snorlax. But instead, Chaos playing for a little bit of intel. I like this. The deep push. Honestly, they're just Sableye hunting at this point.
Yeah, and Clash needs 2 more Unite moves. DotA strapped up with Unite moves, all 5. They're fighting Slashcan. They picked them out. Force out the Unite move and it's dusted. Are you kidding me? That's huge. Clash now has an opportunity if they can just find their way. What's the timer on? Only 8 seconds left. But they're finding Bloodline as well. They're chunking them down a huge block, and it forces out the Unite move. They're on their retreat. Can Stark hold off? They can. Bloodline's forced to retreat. They're leashed right now. But can Tempo close it out? They do. That tri-attack gets it done. Oblivion's caught out. They have to use their Unite, but it's 4-on-1, and they're waiting for more time back. Big Oozle comes in with the Horshiruken, and they're trying to find the middle, but they're caught up by the Mime block. Excuse me, the Mime and the block, and now they're trying to find Tempo. Tempo's on the chase. Slashcan wants a little revenge KO as Tempo is just darting around the map. Nudo wants it 2-3 players down. It's like Rip has started. Slashcan is undetected right now, running incognito. They're going to see if they can find their way in. Stark is leashed to Kea. Kea is working through Slashcan, but Slashcan is doing a ton of damage to them as Clash was trying to hold down Rayquaza. Bloodline is back. Everyone's back, and this is going to be another showdown, Zoinks.
I mean, these fights have been taking a long time, which has been really good for the side of DotA gamers. They want to burn down this clock. We're down to 50 seconds left, and these KOs are all coming through for Clash, but are they coming through quick enough? You need to wipe off all the threats in time all at once and win a big team fight, but the team fight potential from Clash is through the roof. A Rayquaza knockup from them. Finally, it happens. A well-earned team fight, and now the scoring must commence.
Oh, it's ducket time, and a little bit of medicine back into the face of DotA gamers. They said, you can do it, we can do it too. The points are raining in. They're closing it out. 395, 495, 318. They're working through. Bloodline going for a little bit of heat and smoke, trying to push it through. Glaceon Unite comes out of Anemo, and they're pushing forward, and they want more. 609 to 318. They're not willing to quit. 13 seconds left on the clock, and Clash is going to sort this one out. Unite Mike's Mayhem Season 2, Week 2 Clash goes to the South America West champions, UCS representatives. You absolute legends. What a team fight.
Incredible job from them. A very long team fight, but honestly, shout out to Snorlax for that incredible play, going Sableye hunting, getting the exclamation mark above their head by bush searching on that far end, opens it up for the Dodrio. Incredible team fight, great intel earned. Clash with a huge win, 633 to 318, a well-earned victory, and we're gonna see you next week.
Wow. Next week in our finals are primed up for an absolute barn. Let's take a look at these numbers. Yang, 11 KOs. Tempo, 7 KOs. But on the other side, you have Nudo, 9. Got absolutely huge. Big Oozle, sitting at 8. I mean, a lot of good work was done by these teams here. I can't say enough how much Unite Mike's Mayhem means to me and how exciting it is for these top tier teams to be wanting to participate and winning. And right now, our finals is 3 Unite Championship Series qualifying teams.
Yes, fantastic gameplay from everybody. Obviously, you're right. Championship teams. I am excited to see it. It's going to be a lot of fun. Cannot wait until next week, but that is going to come to the close for tonight's Unite Mike's Mayhem. Congratulations to Clash on your week 2 winners. We've said it for 1,000 times. We'll see you next week in the finals on Wednesday. One more shout, ! Prize pool in the chat. If you want to donate to the GoFundMe, that prize pool will just be raising the prize pool of the finals on Wednesday, December 21st. All the cash go directly towards the team. So if you want to donate, support the teams, that's the best way to do so.
Yeah, follow at Unite Mike's on Twitter. Follow us through there. It doesn't matter. Peace, love, and hugs. Unite Mike's Mayhem, baby.
Yes.
We're back next week. What a barn burner. Man.
Yes.
What a way. Holy smokes. Holy smokes. We'll catch you next time. Stick around for the raid as we're playing Glitch City music on the way out. We're going to be raiding Glitch. So give them all the thumbs up, all the love in the world, and let them know how much you love our new music. Zoinks. Let her rip.
We love you too. Bye, everybody. We'll see you next week.